Hello and welcome everyone to Spiritual Talk. Yes, sorry we're late. We are late. I'm so sorry. But we're waiting for Tamara. She hasn't been able to get on with the link all the way over there in America. So I know, but we have Jennifer here. So what we could do was a bit of fun. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey.
It's good to see you. And I love that sunshine. That I've got people just keep constant. Why are you guys not on here? We're getting lots of messages. We are here. We're just going to hopefully wait for our guests to come live. But while we're waiting, we might as well have a little chat beforehand.
We might as well.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about Spiritual Talk and where it's going and the future of Spiritual Talk. And guys, it's not just about us. We created Spiritual Talk, but we want you guys to be a part of it. We want your ideas, and anybody you'd like us to interview, just let us know. There's a few hellos on there. I don't know if you can see them on there.
Yeah, Sandra's here. Hello, Sandra. Julianne. Jane is here. Karen's here. Hello, everyone. Hi, Connie. Hi, Stan. We got a lot of Facebook users, so hi to you. We don't all know who you are, but hi.
Yeah. Hi, Jane and Trevor in the background there. Julianne. Yeah. It's good to see you all, guys. Hi, Jane. Yeah, it's good to see you. Don't forget to share.
Lovely. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. So Tamara, if you're watching over there and struggling to get in, I've sent you the link via email and on Facebook Messenger. So hopefully she can join us very soon, because she has a very unique story in terms of, well, not just one thing I was going to say about her near-death experiences, but also what she does as well. She's a very interesting lady, so we'd like to get her on. And having just said that,
there she is.
The magic of Spiritual Talk. Tamara has just appeared. So without further ado, let's bring our guest in right now. Hello and welcome.
Hi, Tamara.
Hi, Tamara. How are you? It's so good to see you both. Hey, Paul. Hey, Jennifer.
Hi, great to meet you.
You too. Yeah, so I'm here. I got the link. I've got my really groovy backdrop here, which I'm trying to sort out why I've got so much green behind me. But anyway, so thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Pleasure. I love your backdrop. It kind of reminds me of that film with Austin Powers in. I can imagine him going past going, "Hey, baby."
Well, I do love those movies, so
yeah, that is so cool. And just to quickly, well, firstly, welcome to Spiritual Talk, and thank you for coming on, giving up your time, because you're a very busy lady. For those of people that are watching at home, can you give us a little bit of an insight into who you are, what you do, please?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like I'm among my people today, so it's really great to be here. I am from the United States. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is Tamara Caulder Richardson, and I am an evidential medium that I've trained 8 years in the British style of evidential mediumship, because I thought that was the highest form of excellence. So I have studied with I did study with John Holland a little bit in the U.S., but I studied with Tony Stockwell from the U.K. as well as Lisa Williams, and with some miscellaneous different ones. Also, Janet Novak in the U.S., who was a former nun who's passed.
Yeah.
And so, it's some terrific mediums came through her location, the Spiritualist Church in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And so, it's something I've always been able to talk to spirits since 3 years old. I've had 6 near-death experiences, so I feel very fond of spirit because I have been a spirit.
So can I just put the brakes on right there? So 6 near-death experiences. To have one is quite unique. But 6 years. Can you give us a brief insight into that?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. How'd that happen? Well, some people are hard-headed, and they just got to have a repeated message. So I had, which I did not realize was an NDE till PMH Atwater's book, Forever Angels. But I did have a prenatal, and basically I saw my mother losing me, hemorrhaging, and I saw the whole thing from spirit, feeling quite sorry for her because she was 18, and so I immediately wasn't really supposed to make it here. Then at 3, years old, I was playing with a cousin, and we were running about, like little kids do, playing hide and seek. And under a dresser, I don't know what I was doing there, because it was a fairly nice home. It was like the 2-story Gone with the Wind kind of looking thing. And at the bedroom, it had a nail hammered underneath. I don't know why, but the nail, when I'm jumping, pierced through my skull on the nail head end. And I thought it was water in my head, and I passed out, and I was in this, I literally just, dropped out. And then I could hear, see, feel, know everything that was going around me in spirit form. And I could see not only what that was going on in that room, but all the rooms and outside. And then I eventually had to come back in my body, which sort of sucked because it hurt really bad. And and I had a contusion. So I literally had a hole in my head 2 years, because they, what do? It pierced through the skull. And so my grandmother, who was the matriarch, she came over. My mom was a young mom. My mom was like, she'll shake it off. And my mom, my grandmother had connections, so she got that handled. But since 3, I started seeing spirit people, and they would come into especially at night when it was quiet, my bedroom, every night, just all the time. And some of them would complain, and some of them would be nice, and some of them I couldn't help. And then when I was 4, so I had 3, 4, 5 right together, 4 years old, it was through a car accident. My mom was dating this very groovy DJ. And he had the platforms on and all this. And she was from a small town. So like, he was the hippest dude there. So she just had to have this man. And so my grandmother was like, no, he's a player, but she did it anyway. And so she, at this point, she's looking for a daddy. And so I'm at this point, I'm 4. So we're going on this day to see. It was a bad day. It was snowing. It was not good. You really shouldn't be out in it. But we went out to the movies, and we got pizza, went out to the movies, got ice cream. And we went by his radio station. And then on the way out, they got an argument, because he didn't want to get married right off, but she did. She was pushing it. So he twirled the car. He hit the brakes. And then we landed in a tree, and then I was propelled through the windshield. And at the moment of impact, it was just black. It was like instant. I felt no pain, and I didn't know where I was, because I didn't have any hands and feet. Again, this is why I like so many spirit people, because I was spirit. I really, love talking to people, and just because they have a body or not, I don't hold it against them. And so with that was really cool. And that experiment, and that experience, that particular one, because when I came back into the body, I was in this perceived tunnel. I saw Jesus at the end, and I didn't really grow up very religious, but it was Jesus. Okay. And he had some people behind him, which I knew to be my relatives, although I didn't know them. And he said, I had to go back. And then I was instantly back. But I was back. I wasn't in my body. I was by location. I was various places observing, and I could see this rip in the universe. It reminded me a lot of David Ditchfield's, who had an NDE. I don't know if y'all have heard of him. His story's amazing, Shine On, where that rip of this God portal.
It was David Ditchfield.
Yeah, he's
okay. We'll get him on. We'll try and get him on.
You guys should know him. He's a Brit. You need to. He's fantastic.
Oh, I should know him.
And he's very, very humble and sweet. He's a very nice guy. I've had him on a couple times. I did like a music thing. He didn't know any art or music. And then after he had his NDE, now he's a fabulous artist and musician. Anyway, it looked like in his artwork, this God portal, it was fiery, but not scary. And I saw, and it perceived it to be an angel. It didn't have wings, but it was a golden bright light beside me. And then behind me, I saw all these, remember, nobody's out, as Icy and Cole were the only Nimnods out. And so there were firemen dressed in different period outfits, but they were spirit firemen. And I saw all these spirit people, and a spirit lady came up to the car and said, your grandmother knows my mother, and she shops at her jewelry shop. Hi, I'm Judith Hefner. Why wouldn't she introduce herself? She had like a little pill hat on, like a little, 30s, 40s. And then behind her, they were very curious. They were very nice. They were dressed in different time period clothing. And they said, she's the one that carries our voices. I kept hearing that. Of course, it meant nothing to me at that time. And so it was wild. I saw across the street different time periods happening. So right away, time is not linear. So it's this, the psychic business, if you want to call it. It's, it changes timelines. It flattens out sometimes. Future is a little difficult, like I'm telling you to. But yeah, I saw a Native American cooking food. It was a very pretty springy day, which it was not. And then I saw some people in the 1800s walking and taking a stroll. So that was interesting. So was I perceiving the past, or is the past happening now and I tapped into it, or am I seeing a recording?
So I've had an interesting experience where I came out and then came back towards, gosh, I'm going to sound crazy. Sorry about this, live on air. I had an out-of-body experience one evening and then came back towards what I considered was planet Earth. And I saw what I would only describe as layers. And as I was going through those layers, I was seeing different time zones. Yeah. And I saw a past life experience in Egypt. And then it went back through that, almost like potentially they could be our experiences, our past lives or time, etc., could be almost a part of the energy around the Earth. So it's captured. And someone else described it. I was listening to that recently, where it could be like a vibrational thing that's captured, and we can tap into that. Hence, being mediums, we can pick up on past life experiences.
Yeah, of course.
So I wondered if that. But the question I really wanted to ask you is the God portal. I've never heard of that. So what is that? Okay, obviously the guess, the clues in the name. But the God portal, how did that? I mean, did you have a sense of divinity, or?
Oh yeah.
Did you just feel that connection?
Yeah, you knew, don't play. This is some God stuff. It had this command over. It was creation. It was creation. And it sent me back. So this is why I feel that. We need to do whatever lesson we're here, in Earth School, because when it's your time, that has somewhat been arranged. I mean, you can have exit points, but it's somewhat been arranged. But it was definitely not my time. But it did feel a reverence, a creation, a magnitude, and which no pressure coming back. Now that I'm later in life, I remembered all this detail, and a lot of pressure to right, because I'm here for we're all here for a reason. Let's be honest, we're all here. And I tell people, look, if God thought you're good enough to be here, that's all you need. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about where you are right now. It'll all work out in the mix. But I think all these different experiences right off the bat made me unusual. I was an odd kid, I kept it quiet because I didn't want to be put in a funny farm. So 5 was the biggest, and that's when I saw Jesus. I had pneumonia, and I was being sexually abused by my stepdad. We had moved away from my grandparents, which was my safe haven. They kind of looked out for me. And when he got it was a radio station in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I started talking to God, and grandmother told me about this guy, Jesus, I could trust. So I remember, oh yeah, that guy. Okay. I mean, I'm going to ask him too. I'll say, look, I'm done with this. So you need to, first of all, I said, you need to kill him, the perpetrator. And then I realized that was evil. I didn't know that. I was a child. I didn't know. And I was like, okay, well, it's fine. Just take me. I don't care. So God really listened. So I had a pneumonia, and it kept getting worse. So for a couple of days, they wouldn't take me to the hospital, and it got very bad. I got a fever of 104.9, and then finally, at this point, my mom is married to this guy, this player, the DJ guy, and. Yeah. And so he's like, no, we don't have the money, which my grandparents did. That couldn't have really been a problem, but he was just being difficult. And so so finally she went to she tried to feed me, didn't work, put me to bed. I was soaking wet. She put me in a tub of ice because that's what the hospital people said. It didn't help. They took me in the car to the hospital. And at this time, Dr. Martin Luther King had been assassinated that night. So we had National Guard. You could not leave. You could not leave at all. Yeah. So when we were in his media car and driving, we had to stop at the barricades. But I died 15 minutes at arrival when I just kind of just slipped away. My lungs just shut down. They just kind of slipped away. It was kind of peaceful. I don't mean to sound weird, but it was kind of peaceful. And I was above the car looking at all the fires and the riot. And then when we came upon the hospital, when we went to the first booth, the guard said, we'll call ahead. He saw the problem. He goes, yeah. And they said, we'll call ahead and make sure the hospital is waiting for her. And so when I get there, there's about 8 or 12 people waiting to pull me in. And just the experience, the hospital was cool because I really love being spirit. I really loved it a lot. I mean, I could go talk to people. I could talk in the ear. Don't do that. You need to stay alive. Your daughter needs you. I would do things like move off the glass off the table so the guy could get more water. I really enjoyed being in spirit form. I was really fast. I could think clearly. I wasn't bound by any body. And I would go back and check on the body and see them pumping out this stuff out of my lungs. And eventually it was really quiet and they put a sheet over my head. That's not good, by the way, FYI.
No, that's not a good sign.
That's not good when that happens. Yeah, it's kind of final. So I saw two spirit people, and one was, they were both, I perceived them as Catholic because they were the way they were dressed and holding a rosary. And even though I wasn't Catholic, I knew what that was. And
oh, she's frozen.
Yeah, let's see if she comes back.
Yeah, she will. It could be a dodgy broadband.
Yeah, there she is.
There she is.
Okay.
You're back. Sorry about that.
I'm back. I was like, okay, I'm a spirit, but I hope they're not stopping me. This is the good part. But I saw these two, a nun and a priest, and they were in spirit. And she said, "Blessed are the innocent," and they were praying over me. And I was like, "Why are they praying over me? I'm fine." I was dead.
So how long was you out of the body at this point? How long?
2 hours.
2 hours.
Wow.
So is it a big shockaroo? I'm a medium. I mean, come on, give me a break. What should I do?
I mean, I'm assuming they took you was on some kind of life support, and they must have taken the pipes out. Because how would?
Yeah.
Okay.
So at this point, well, there's a couple things going on. I'm laying there dead. At some point, somebody sees a slight breath, and then they put me on, my lungs had collapsed. They tried to revive me, but they put me in a induced coma for 3 days, which total bonus for me. Got to hang out with Jesus, who's so funny and so sweet. He is so down to earth. He's not creepy like the paintings are. He's like so handsome. He's got like beautiful white teeth. He's just like really pretty feet for a man, really good looking feet, and just wonderful. But all of a sudden I saw this beautiful Summerland, a pasture. It was beautiful. It was like the best pasture ever. And I saw these children playing on this little roundabout thing that you twirl it around. And he was kneeling beside me and he was holding my right hand. I said, "You're that man I talked to." And he goes, "I am." And he said, "I have something for you." And I said, "A toy." And he thought that was funny, which I thought was cute. He laughed at my joke. Well, he said it wasn't really a joke. I really wanted a toy, but he took a piece of his belt off and he wrapped it around my left wrist. He said, "You're wrapped in my love and protection. Through the big things, the small things would be done. And through the small things, big things would be acknowledged." And so he said, "You got to go back." I said, "No, they're here. So I need to stay because they're here." And he said, "No, you got to go back." And so I really argued about that. And then he said, "Okay, well, you can walk with me for a while." And as he walked, all the grass followed him, all the petals and the trees and the clouds followed him. And I was going, does he notice that they're following him? And he began to talk to me and explain things to me, anything I really kind of wanted to know. But he said I needed to go back, and he said, let's sit over here. And we sat on this big rock in front of this gorgeous tree. It kind of looked like kind of like a cherry blossom, like a Japanese cherry blossom with flowers, but it had red grapes on them. And he goes, we don't eat from this tree. And I wasn't thinking about eating from the tree, but that's just what he said. And he said, we'll sit here and you can ask me whatever you want. And I asked him, I was a kid, I didn't know. I asked him, how's electricity work? I didn't know. And he told me in a thought, I knew. I was kind of bored. And then he started talking about manifesting things. And he said, do you want to know how things happen here? I said, yeah, and he goes, well, here we think it happens like that. And he said, but over where you are, you got to keep thinking these thoughts for it to manifest. And I said, well, what do you mean? And I said, can I try it? He goes, sure. So I thought of a little boat. We were in a little boat, and he's on one end, I'm on the other. It's a little river, it's very nice. And then 3 little fish they swim up to us, and he picks one up and he says hello to it and he puts it back. He said, that's how we fish here. And then he began to give me this long speech about how I needed to show my mother love and that she needed me. And I'm like, she'll be fine. She'll get over this. And he's like, no, you need to go show her love, because you have more love in you than she does for herself. And you have more love for both of you. And I said, well, how do you show someone love? And he goes, there's no right way or wrong way to do that. He said, that's something I know a little about, which I thought was kind of funny. And so he said that I needed to come back. I had this mission, and I was supposed to let people know that God lived in them, and they were not separate from God, and that they were part of God, and that he gave me, he talked about all these things aren't what they seem, that the kingdom of God rests in you, that you need to let people be an example to others, that there is brightness in every person. And he gave me this long speech, and I was like, this seems like a lot of work. I really don't want to do it. That's what I told him. And then he kept on with it, and he said, but there'd be a lot of other people doing this. And I said, I don't know. He goes, I got a lot of people doing this same kind of thing in different ways. And I'm like, well, if there's other people, maybe, I don't know if it's going to work. And he eventually convinced me. And I said, okay. And then I'm back. So that was a big deal. I still channel him now. And actually, it was Jesus that opened up my channeling to other religious people like Sai Baba, Ramanoju, which I did not know who he was. Okay. He showed up. I was doing a South African live medium reading. He showed up. I said, it's not your family. It's some guy. This is a sacred religious person that wants to talk to you. Some guy, a Hindu fellow who's been reading his book. And so I described him, and he gave a beautiful channel message. But it was Jesus I had channeled 35 years because I still kept hearing him. But that opened that portal to talking to other people like Yogananda, Gandhi. Then he'd bring me people like St. Ignatius. I didn't know who he was. He talked a lot. He walked around with a donkey and talked about parables. And then it went into, now let's talk to star people from different planets.
I'm sorry, just the way you describe, I don't know who this dude is. He's just got some donkey walking around. I
know, went from a donkey to a spaceship. I mean, this consciousness thing just keeps going. Yeah, we didn't have a word for it growing up. I didn't know what the word channeling is. And I know trance versus channeling. I've done trance channeling. I have done that with Tony Stockwell. Okay. I don't try to do it. I just have people's faces show up on mine. I think it's really cool, especially if you love that person. It's really exciting to see them again. But the channeling, I didn't try. It just was an evolution. And so as I had more of these, I'm done. I'm pretty sure I'm done with these NDEs, but I had a couple more.
Well, hang on. Let's hope so. Touch wood. You've been yeah, absolutely. I hope, touch words, that you will never have another one. Okay.
Yep. I'm done until I see him. I'm done. Well, I'm talking to him already. So what, it's not like I need to go check in anymore. I can talk to him now. So I don't need to, And so I think to me, this is the next level of, it was such a natural, organic thing. I mean, who knew we had all these chakras and extra etheric bodies that we weren't told way above our head and way in other places? I mean, so this is to me a natural evolution for mediumship, is to be able to talk to
potentially the human race as well, not just for mediums. I believe that we're all on that awakening, that we'll all become aware of our subtle forces, the beings around us. I love that. Your hands disappeared.
What?
Your hands didn't go. Oh my God. That's
it's the virtual background.
So weird.
I think you're reporting your hands are going to turn up here.
Well, okay, so I'm working on abortation, but I haven't done that one quite yet. So I'm here and then I'm gone, I'm back. So
all joking aside, I have heard that been done. Okay, can you imagine that? A spiritual slap. You got that wrong. That'd be great, wouldn't it? From your guides, just need that every now and then. Are you listening? Basically.
Well, if you have something that's imparted upon you, like here's a remote, right? And you have it in front of you, that's different. But a whole person, that's really a transfiguration, what Christ did, right? He brought, so that he said, whatever I can do, you can do. So I figure nothing's off the table here. We can give it a go.
Yeah.
So it kind of went from strange from the donkey to spaceships, but I did have 2 other NDEs. One was a drowning at 10, and I was on a family vacation in a pool at a hotel, and I got hung up under these fellas playing volleyball. They didn't know I was there, and I couldn't get up. And I saw the under the water, it start parting, and a myriad of an angelic singing was coming through. And I thought, oh gosh, crap, this is happening again. So the next thing I know, I was coughing up water. And then then the last one, I was 34. I took 1 pill prescribed by a doctor for menstrual migraines, and it must have been strong as whatever, because next thing I know, I didn't have motor skills. I don't know how I forced myself out of the bed. I couldn't even talk to my husband and wake him up and turn on the TV. And I very shortly did not know what a TV is or my name. I'm like, this is going downhill south fast. And I just heard white noise. And then saw myself sitting there. And then I was in the nebula and the Milky Way. But before that, I saw the furniture break down in the lines like the Matrix. But I knew I hadn't taken enough, or wasn't too bad. So I just took 1 finger and I poked it till I got myself back in my body again.
So do you think, as you said, you went into a nebula, do you think that the astral emotional layer of your auric field is connected to the universe, which is why you popped out kind of out of body into that astral aspect that takes us what looks like the night sky? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that we all are. I think that I've been told so much crazy stuff lately. I'm like getting stuff from Tesla and Einstein and channeled to all sorts of crazy stuff. Anyway, that I think that we all are. I think what it is, what I've been shown, if you really want the answer, you want me to go there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please. There'll be a lot of people
listening. I won't get you taken off YouTube or anything.
No, it's okay.
So here is the Earth, right? What I've been shown is there is a dark, heavy, dense, electromagnetic density cloud, so to speak, around it. But there is a light grid. Apparently, they've told me, Cryon told me that I helped build the light grid. That's another story. Apparently, I'm from the celestial realm. That's another story. So building this light grid, okay? And so what it is there's certain things that are kept. I don't want to go into it. How do I do this? I'm just going to do it. So that keep us in here. So it keeps us in check. So our consciousness cannot raise to a certain level. But if you bypass basically your chakra centers and go to your higher self, you can just blow that cookie jar lid off. You can just go outside of that, y'all know what I'm talking about. And that's, I tell everybody, because if you're a human, you're psychic, you have abilities, you're human, you have a soul, you can do this. I tell everybody, I'm teaching a class, Channeling Divine, how to do it in the steps. You can do it because it gives you power to, if you can get the knowledge yourself, because obviously news around the world is not telling us exactly the truth. Okay. But if we go directly to the divine higher realms, which I've had people say, what about the darker stuff? Good news. They don't live there. They don't live, any creepy stuff does not, if there is anything, right, that's, you know, psychic attacks or in these higher dimensions is love. And so you're going to get this higher information of beauty and love. And so I think that we're all connected to that, but there's an actual effort and force to keep us and our consciousness not to go to these higher dimensions. And and we're bound by the love, even with the galactic stuff. After I started having Starseed, UFO experts on my Seeking Heaven channel, it opened me up, and then I started seeing UFOs, big ones. And then now I remember a lot of stuff. And I have when I saw my UFOs, I guess a year and a half ago, I saw them. My husband saw it first. He's totally normal acting. And he saw it first. I think that was to be validating.
Hang on. You said your husband is totally normal.
Yeah, he's normal. He's not like us.
Okay.
Okay. He's a normal bloke. He's funny. He's nice. You know, he keeps everything going. Everything's, you know, but he's open to things. Obviously,
he's very grounded. I would say he's probably very grounded.
Yeah. Okay. His name is Clay, like the dirt. Of course he's
okay. He's very earthly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Right. And so, but he saw it and he goes, "Hey, look at that." And I was like, and they were like huge. Like this just was 2021, 2022. It was like 4 of them by his side, huge. How big? Pretty big in the sky, close by. Okay. They would look like saucers. And then to the right, it did not look like a saucer to me, but it was very big and it was red. It looked like kind of like lava, or when you look at a fireplace, that it looked like that. So I don't know what kind of heated apparatus that was going on there. Come to find out later, that's normal for people to see that. But when I saw that, it was very close. They followed us with our car 7 to 8 minutes. And this is the part, it's a little strange. Okay. So people go, why don't you bring out your phone? A, I wasn't thinking about that. I was having a moment. And B, I was telling them how much I love them. I was going, I love you. I just felt this intense love for them. And I said, I love you, friends. And then after that, I started drawing light codes. I can speak light language. I remember all sorts of stuff because I had, Mary, I can't think of her last name, famous person who's written several UFO books. She said, it's a download, Mary Rodwell, it's a download when you see these things. And then, so it was a month later, exactly almost the same time, the same day. And it was on a Sunday. And it was about 7:45, and I'm pulling into my driveway. It's a long driveway, and I see lights, and I figure it's a helicopter, you know, because what else would be that low, right? And this is crazy. It doesn't make sense. I can only say what I saw, but I'm pulling in, and as I'm pulling in, it's a long driveway, and I'm pulling in, I'm going, I had to talk to myself to say, what am I looking at? It was a full-on mothership, but it was obviously made smaller. Even though I have a big yard, it still was smaller. And I went, but it had like prism lights on the top and the bottom. It had exact lights. It was saucer light, but bigger. It was massive. And I couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. I'm going. And then when I finally did, I had to explain to myself, okay, this is it. You know, I had to kind of like, you know, what am I looking at? And then finally, so then I called my husband in the car and I said, get outside. We got a big ass UFO outside. No! So he's running to go look at the UFO. And then it pulled back like, whew, like that. But it lasted a long time. So when we open our consciousness to like things like this, then guess what? We start having these experiences, and then we start having the contact. But I think the narrative that they're all evil and bad, that this is like people. There's good people, there's bad people. I just don't believe that.
Can I just say on one thing though, and I'm with you on UAPs, they've been rebranded. Did you know that? The governments have rebranded UFOs as UAPs. Not sure what that stands for. Guys, you can let us know. Now, I know some very, as you said, very normal people and some ex-military people that I know that have had these experiences with UFOs. So for me, I mean, I've had a few experiences, and it's that believability. It's subject to your own experience, of course, but this stuff is out there. Now, funny enough, Jennifer and I were talking about this before the show, wasn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
And apparently the American government are going to, I don't know if this is true, but it was online. Someone was talking about the American government are going to go for full disclosure about there being actual UFOs. And Jennifer, you were saying about Mexico, wasn't you?
Yeah, from what I understand, they're a lot more open to that over there. So they just,
Okay, that might be.
It's just on TV. It's no big deal. So.
Well, I think you want me to tell you my take on that. Since then, I'm having contact with different alien races with detail, and now I see them outside of my home, and I like that. I don't know why I have this reaction, but I feel very comfortable with it. I was not like some, I mean, I like Star Trek and things like that, but I thought these things were interesting, but I wasn't like a crazed person like this. And that just has happened.
Oh, she's frozen. Oh, no.
Back in a second.
This is where the poor jokes come out. Oh, thank God. I thought it was
there you are.
That's my sense of humor. I'm so sorry. It's good. You wasn't abducted.
No, I wasn't abducted. Oh, darn. I wanted to be. I told him, do not beam me up like a cow, because that is so good. Pick me up in a proper chariot. You need to pick me up in a proper car or something. Do not have me disoriented and do that beaming thing like a cow. That is
you're my kind of girl, Tamara.
No.
Oh my gosh.
It is worth mentioning, though. I do strongly believe there really is nothing to fear, because if they was out for us, we'd have been gone a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Oh my God, they're living among us. So here, get this. So I started having these guests on my show, and I had to read a book. It's Craig. You got to have my friend Craig Campoboso on. You would love him. He's actually a cast and big time movie director in the U.S., but he's written several books called the UFO Hotspot Compendium and the ET. What is it? The Intergalactic ET Almanac, Species Almanac. He actually did a course on my Academy of Divine Wisdom on both of those. It's only if people want to do it, because it's a lot. Anyway, if you don't want to read the book. So I had to read the book, because I thought I can't have someone on and not read some of the book, right? And I started reading it, and I had this oh crap moment. Okay. I'm reading it at night, and I started getting this kind of under my skin. I went, oh my God, this whole book is channeled. Yeah. So I got him on, I went, this whole book is channeled. And he goes, yeah, exactly. And I said, and you're not human either. And he goes, no. And I said, and he goes, people like you always get that. And I said, well, what are you? He said, Palladian. And I said, okay, well, so what's your mission? He goes, well, there's some reptiles and dark entities trying to stop us from our consciousness raising. So I'm just handling that with Metatron and Michael. And I work with St. Germain and Christ. We call Sananda. And I went, okay, well, that sounds great. And then we went over the interview and we've become friends. But since then, I've had activations, and I've glowed the room, and I am not from this realm either. And most of us are not.
So it brings a whole new meaning to the imposter syndrome. If we're all feeling that.
Well, I wouldn't have believed it. But when I lit the room up and there's nothing going on in lights, then you gotta, the Syrians. And now I looked at all these codes. Apparently, they're Dr. Stephen Group. They're Syrian. So now I can look at other people and tell you where you're from. Now, like, you know, the Akashic level, a whole different deal, because now I can look at things like your galactic cosmic past, right? Like,
Yeah.
Paul,
There was actually
you were a wizard. Very good one,
I
by
was
the way.
always, yeah, I was,
Very
yeah, an
good
Egyptian.
one.
I was an Egyptian healer. I was, yeah.
And a very good one with the elements, yes, because you have to reach. You have to reach a certain level to actually become that.
Yeah, it was actually connected to Syrian energy as well. So there's a great book out by Professor Robert Temple called The Syrian Mystery, guys. If you ever get a chance to read it.
Oh, I'm gonna write that down. What is it called?
It's by Professor Robert Temple. He's done many interviews on YouTube.
Yeah,
great guy. He talks about the Syrian mystery, but he comes at it from a very scientific, proofed, evidence-based
check it
phenomenon.
out.
And he talks about the African Dugan tribe that actually worshipped the Syrians because they had a visitation, and they believe at that time they were living around Egypt anyway, but they believe was potentially the base of Egyptian beginnings in terms of civilization, culture, music. They brought all of that apparently, and there's lots of writings on the wall. There was the French brothers that lived with the tribe in the Victorian times that were taken into by the local witch doctors. They took these two French investigators into their confidence, and they told them about some of the legends of these Syrian entities coming to Earth. And apparently a part of their role is to protect the Earth. And they have some kind of karmic link with the Earth to help us grow, almost like guardians, if you like. But he is very evidence-based, so it's quite hard to argue that. He's also got a new book out about something about heaven, about there's been made out of being plasma, but there's something else he's discovered within cells that are around the Earth that allow connection to Syrian planet. So so it's very interesting, very interesting.
Oh wow, I appreciate you sharing.
Recommend that.
Yeah, I'm still learning that. That's what I recently did for Portal to Ascension. This, you know how you hear yes or no? Well, I said yes, even though, and me was going no. I heard yes. You know, I hate when that happens. And so I said, all right, I'll do it. So I ended up trying to write down things. It would come out what I remembered, right? And what it finally came out, what I remembered, it was crazy. On the Atlantis was propagated. It was an experiment by the Styrians and the Arcturians. Later on, the Palladians showed up to help out when there was kind of falling apart. And and also back when the Lemurian issue. But the Syrians were the ones that created the Stargate technology, which is the one I did as a high priestess. I was a shapeshifter high priestess, which is why I can transfigure so well. I mean, you know, it's really cool when I know that it's just kind of neat when, you know, that happens. I don't really, but yeah, I did that there is because the Syrians taught through tonality, through sound and sound frequency, and by they used certain elements that would reverberate off of one another. But bottom line, Atlantis was one big Stargate, and I went into the formation of how it was formed and how we used it, and what you had to do to be a high priestess, even to be a priest, which still participated in it. It's just the priestess were picked of the 12 tribe families, and you have to go through a near-death experience. Like in Egypt, they would lock you in a tomb for 3 days, and if you made it, then you open the veil. And so there are easier ways to open the veil than that, but that was part of it when you reached a certain point that you would have mastery over death. And so if we can all remember these cosmic beginnings, because we've really been lied to what our true cosmic beginnings are, we could tap into this amazing knowledge and energy. And I've had some medium friends, Paul, Jennifer, one in particular, I just love and adore in New York. And she just thinks I've gone off the deep end. She goes, why are you channeling aliens now? Are you crazy? She thinks they're all evil. I said, they're not. They are not. They are not. They aren't. They're just like us. And I don't know why this, you know, yellow.
But that comes from education and knowledge. And the problem with the whole subject matter, and you could say that about mediumship per se, it's that believability. You know, what is my experience isn't going to be Jennifer's or yours. So for me, it's how, you know, and you trust your connection when you're working with spirit. You trust your connection.
100%.
So when you've got, and this is the problem, maybe it's terminology, it's the way we communicate ourselves between each other, that we have this inbuilt, what we don't understand, we fear.
Could be.
So,
that could be.
So therefore, anything different or challenging to us, whether, and this is the problem, there is this whole narrative that's come out of, forgive me for saying this, from the first, I mean, there's recorded sightings of UFOs going back millennium, you know, thousands and thousands of years of on the cave walls, like I said about the Dugan tribe in Africa. James just put out, visited the Dugan tribe in Africa where they lived. Oh, awesome. So and they worship the Syrians. Cool. So wow. Yeah, there's so much of it in history. And the problem is Western civilization has changed the narrative to fit their agenda. So defense, you know, look at the money that's spent on defense. You know, UFOs are coming, let's arm up. Let's, you know, so there's this whole kind of fear-based almost economy built out of that. So the narrative has changed. We've got something that we fear rather than acknowledge, I think is what I want to say, and be open-minded. And the problem is you're open to be ridiculed.
Well, look, I didn't pick this. Okay, look, I'm going to make a little comment. In the U.S., it is not, look, I know you probably had a lot of guests on, but in the U.S., especially where I'm from in the South, where there are 12 states of the USA, being a medium is not cool, okay? It is not popular. Yeah. I would not choose this to do this professionally, boldly, on stage, all this, if I let that get under my skin, because I trust spirit and God, the divine, the creator, all that, team God, so much that I'm not worried about that. But we all are that way. The people that don't fit in the box and choose a different route, we are the ones that have the guts to step forward. The healers, the ones that went a different route. We are the ones that are going to make this new earth, and they're going to let the ones that are fearful, to let them know it's okay. It's just different. That's all.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry. Can I just say something to our audience? Can I officially apologize? This is supposed to be an interactive audience experience. But we've had such a great conversation between the three of us. We are acknowledging that you're there. But thank you, Helen. Great question. Thank you, Emma. We'll come back to that. And can you see the one from Helen?
Yes, I can answer that, Helen. Yay, Helen. All right. Yes. Well, I've seen a few, sure. And I have this, it's so funny. I have this sitting in front of me. I put, instead of the I'm not working today, I put my staff of, what is it? Syrians.
Yeah.
Let me get it here.
Syrian. Yeah, I've got it.
Right here. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, all right. So I don't know. To me, this is funny. This is where I am now, Helen, is that the word alien is, I don't like that word, because in reality, I think we share a lot of the DNA they do. So we are in fact probably aliens. So you could say other non-humans, although the word beings might be good, but that's kind of a loose term. So that's good. I guess I started having recall. I was dreaming, and I woke up in a dream, and I was like, wow, they're still talking. And it was Commander Astor of the Galactic Federation. I didn't even know he was a thing. Okay. I didn't even know he was, people do this. Like, I did not know, but he's talking to other people. And I remember taking a tour of the ship, and I drew what he looked like. And he looked like, you know, in the 80s, those Swedish bands that are real cheesy. And they got,
there's a few English bands like that.
Where they had the hair slicked back and like that, you know, like the 80s, you know, we kind of giggle now, but he looked like.
Are we talking Duran Duran?
They No, but not quite. A little bit, maybe Duran Duran, maybe, early
Bon
80s.
Jovi. Bon Jovi.
Not Bon Jovi.
No, that Bon Jovi was super cool.
More like ABBA, okay? And so
yes.
ABBA, okay.
Yes.
And so he had
Absolutely.
this
with the high
collar,
heels.
and he had his hair back, and I said, wow, I'm up high, and I could see ships were coming off, and we were in front of this big room, and people had little spaceships. And I've talked to other NDEs, near-death experiencers, and they've also been on the ship. And I said, why don't you talk about that? Goes, well, nobody asked me that. Okay, so just FYI, if you want to throw that in. And so he looked different. He explained, he took me around. So he is considered a, well, really in the celestial realm, but he is I think a creative being. He's not really been human. He's not here. I have since then talked to the Syrians. I don't know why they have all these committees and councils over there, but it's hard to explain because I'm just going to try. The Council of Light, the Council of Elders, and they're light beings, and they kind of look. There's 12 of them, and there's light beings. They stand around me and do healing stuff. I've seen them, but they don't. Some of these things are such a high vibration. They're not in our density. They're so high we can't see them, so we perceive them as light. But I have seen in my mind's eye the Syrians and Althea. I'm probably not saying it right, but I do it phonetically. And that she is looks kind of like me, but blue and no hair. Syrians usually have something always covering their eye because they have a light projection source. Their pineal gland is fully activated. And so they sometimes cover it when they're not doing spiritual work. And so she's come to me and she said that I'm one of the keys to activate things here. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, it's not symbols we've given you. They're actually dimensional. And so she was blue, but she looked like us, and she was with others with her. I have also, when I was in Sedona in March, this was super cool. She asked another alien, but we would call them ultra dimensionals, not ETs, because they're not the grays, they're not the reptiles, they're ultra dimensionals. They're in the area of what you might consider an angelic. And so I was in Sedona, and I was with Michael Jacob going up on, I was at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, and I was going up, we were doing a mountain thing up Thunder Mountain. When we stopped, we did a meditation. Then he invited everybody to go in the middle astrally in the mountain. And I saw little people there. They were like little blue people. They had tiny little teeny teeth, but they said they eat the plankton and the algae, everything. It looks like it's got photosynthesis, is neon inside. And then they talk telepathy, and they keep, as a guard, they keep there. And then they said, we want to show you something. And then we went to a wall, and they were like real friendly, like little kids. They had 3 little hands, and they took my little finger. They're very tiny. And they showed me, and they said, we want to show you this. It was a wall, and they were giggling. And then the wall is not a wall. It was a projection. And it was another dimension. And it was a man that came in my dream the night before. And I said, are you a Palladian? And he didn't answer, but he had long blonde hair. He looked like he would be like in a fairy tale land, like Cinderella. Like, I don't dream stuff like this, but that's what he looked like. He looked like he would be in one of those medieval movies. He had the cape, and he said, no. And he said, I'm Rafka. And I said, okay. I saw him in the thing. And he said, I'm an Argathian. We live in the middle of the earth. I am the keeper of the layers, of the surfaces. He said, soon we will be all one. And he began to show me, and I saw like freaking unicorns. Everything was like glowy, but there was another lady there that saw that same realm and saw dragons. And so later I was like, everyone shared. I shared. I have a WTF, like, I don't care. I just share. I'm like, whatever. If it means something, great. If it doesn't, just throw it away. I don't care. And afterwards he came to me and he goes, I was in the secret space program. He goes, that's very accurate. I said, really? He goes, yes. I said, but there were giants down below, and there were cabling systems, kind of like Goonies. And so, but there was another person that also saw it too. So what's my take? I think they've been here. They live in the middle of the earth. They live in the sky. They live in the ocean. They're among us. Some of them you would recognize as human, but they are not human. And I can tell now by their vibration. And have I gotten too strange yet? It's the truth for me. And and so do I let it worry me? No, I'm always, it's good. I come in love. It's good. I don't feel any threat. I think they've been amongst us because people are unwilling to see what's right in front of them.
But it's like being aware of subtle forces and energies around you. When you become aware with mediumship, when you start to open, whether it's through meditation, contemplation, whatever your bag is, it's just the key that unlocks the door to the other realms and the other possibilities of life. And I think that's the illusion. I don't want to start being over dramatic and say life is like the Matrix, but it kind of can be a little bit of an illusion.
It is totally like the Matrix. It is one big hologram and we're stuck and we get out of the box.
Well, there is some truth in that. When you think of like ancient geometry and how you can create your own reality, etc., etc., there is some truth in that. I just kind of we are watching. I'm just trying to keep my feet on the ground as well, because some people will poo-poo this, and I want to bring everyone along on this journey, because you've touched on some really interesting issues tonight, and thank you for that, because that takes a level of, I want to say, bravery. And you're right. I mean, in this country, you could say that we have a fabulous college at the Arthur Finney College, but 70 years ago, we would have been locked up for being mediums in the UK. And because of Helen Duncan dying in a police cell, the Witchcraft Act was abolished. But that's how far we've come in 70 years, you know, from suddenly understanding that there's more to life. There's another reality where we don't just die. Energy doesn't dissipate, it moves on to a different form, into suddenly experiencing and open our minds to other possibilities, realms, and life. To me personally, I think we live in a really exciting time. The only thing I would say though, it's kind of, I don't know how you feel about this, Jennifer, but I kind of do feel you need to keep your feet on the ground a little bit, because I always believe that a lot of things are your mind not can play tricks, but there is an element of you that needs a construct. So the lot of imagery that we see, it's like the famous medium who believed her guide was a red Indian. And after 20 years, he turned around and said to her, "Are you ready to see me in my true form?" He turned out to be an alien. You know, so again, it's that we need constructs to live a human life. So that's why I kind of don't want to worry people. There really isn't nothing to fear. Just go with the energies. And I heard someone describe, I can't think of his name, a gentleman describe what human beings existing is like. We are like a spiritual reality living in an ocean, and all the entities and energies around us, swimming past us and around us, influencing us, touching our lives, but we're just not aware of them. But the more we start to unfold and develop, we become so much more aware of these other energies and entities. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think it's important to be kind of, oh God, I'm sounding a bit British now and a bit grounded and a bit boring, but I just think there needs to be a level of, I'm with your husband on this, by the way.
Okay.
There just needs to be, because we are living a human existence. I've still got to go to shopping. I've got to go to the shopping. I've got to go and, you know, I've got to do all my normal everyday stuff. So we can become, if we're not careful, too far out there, and then we don't become, why are we having a human incarnation? That's what I would ask you next. Why are we having this incarnation? Why do you think this is all coming together now? Big question. Sorry about that.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no, I could ask Jennifer. I've just put Jennifer
Well,
on.
you know, I have to say kudos to you, Paul, because you just don't hold back. I like that. You just keep throwing them hard. I like it. That's good. At least it's no softball. I like it. This is good. We're having a real talk here. I think that it's always been, okay, easy answer, it's always been about the love. We're here to learn about love, to give love, receive love, and be, as Jesus tells me, be the love you were created to be. Well, we were really being the love. It ain't easy, okay? It's not easy. the hard answer is we are here now because this is the big kickoff. This is the big game. We all signed up for this. There was a queue waiting to come here, but we said, me. So we decided to be here because we could have some personal effect. Some here are just by their energy. Their energy holds the space. There are some that are here for various levels that maybe pray, meditate for others. They hold a different kind of space. And then there are the doers, the oracles, like you two, myself, where we get out there and we got to talk about stuff. But there's many different ways. And what we're doing is we're trying to get out of this holographic system and machine that's been set up. When I saw the lines of the furniture break down, that was way before the Matrix. Okay. It's a construct held together by our consciousness. Yes, again, we need to be consciously aware because we do need to go to the grocery store and get food and do things and go to appointments on time and all of that. But that can also make us appreciate this life more, to realize it is a game. We are here. What is our part? What part do we want to play? I think that the disclosure, going back to, I think Jennifer and earlier I mentioned about the disclosure, I think that this is part of it. I feel that there's a reason why we're all seeing UFOs, or if you haven't, or hearing about it, it's unfolding. So if you haven't yet, just wait your turn. You do need to try to look up occasionally, but because most of them are, in the sky, but there are things that are unfolding that are true history. Is because it's time for us to ascend another vibration, another level, because there's another game that people want to play, and it's not positive. And I think there's a lot of us light workers here that were like, no, we really don't want to play that game. We really want to go down to our essential spiritual core and love each other and be one loving planet and work together in harmony. I can say I've never seen so many light workers, truth seekers coming together. They're generally lone wolves, but not these days. They come together because they realize the stakes are high. This is not about the US, the UK, or Mexico, or wherever else. This is the world, okay? The whole world is going through this metamorphosis together. And the fact is that this, to separate us is the goal here. But our goal is to be unified and to willingly share love and share information, share of ourselves, and not to be afraid of our gifts. Because if we all step into our gifts, whatever they are, everybody's given a certain amount of gifts and a certain levels of gifts that we can help each other with those and share those willingly. And so this is the time to come out and play.
Yeah. Would you agree with that, Jennifer?
It's so beautifully said. And I mean, that just really just says it all. And I think so many people who are listening here can relate to what you're saying. And you've touched on so many important things here today. And what fascinates me about you is it's like you're connected, straight to the top. Like you can talk to God, you can talk to Jesus, but then you also see all of these other beings here too. And it's like the understanding that spirit can work in so many creative ways. God can express itself in so many different kinds of ways. So like, why wouldn't we also be able to talk to angels and loved ones? And, other beings as well from other dimensions? Why wouldn't we be able to do that? Why wouldn't God want to, express itself in so many different ways? Because it's all part of the big grand story. And you've also just touched so, beautifully on just the nature of reality and how flexible it is and how malleable it is and how it's not what it seems. And, that's what fascinates me too, is, and I'm glad that you've touched on that quite a bit, because I think that's what a lot of us are really hungry to understand more. It's just like the nature of how things aren't what they seem, and the
bingo
system. Yeah.
Bingo. But I'm talking to two people here, and gosh knows how many people that are on the feed and that will see it later that are just like us. Now, it may come through differently in this world or expressed differently, but they're basically just like us. They're trying to be able to communicate their true self without censorship and in a safe way. And I think that's one reason we're all being asked as light workers to step it up, because you can feel it in your heart core, because all the higher level celestial beings, whether it's the Elohim or the ultra dimensionals, there's the Arcturians, the Syrians, the Andromedans, there's a list of them. They work with their heart core. They work with their heart. Your heart never lies. And of course, as mediums, that's how we connect, through the heart, through the love. But if we have a loved one, right, and they pass, and that love doesn't die, well, just because I don't remember that I had my own fleet of spaceships in Cirrus and I loved a bunch of people there, right, because I'm still a product of the divine, wouldn't I still have that love hidden in there too? So I think that the fear we have is not justified. I think that we are truly divine beings living on this planet, that God believes in us to be here. We are part of something bigger, and that fear is something that this old school duality crap wants to instill, and I'm not buying it. And, it's not, it doesn't do any of us any good. And I think it's time that it's safe to shine bright. They're not going to put us at the stake. They're not going to burn us. I already done that. I have the t-shirt. I've done that. It was not pleasant. And
Yeah.
it's safe now. And if people that are listening that don't feel it safe, just remember, who's open to things and who isn't. So don't say things that are going to frighten, your mom or your sister or your brother. Don't say those things if it's going to frighten them. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop moving forward, because now is the time. So there is a huge vibrational shift going on, and it's already been spoken. It's already been spoken forth. You might even want to say, I'm not saying it's like a seal, an angelic seal, but it's that important that it's been spoken forth, that there is a transition. And the ones that choose to be at war and fight and be just real nasty about stuff, they probably just aren't going to make it, because the vibration is going to be so high.
I was going to say, but is that them clinging on to the 3D reality they've been programmed to? So, and
some of it, but
sorry, just to come off of that, you kind of trying to answer my question almost. I want to know, is there anything you could share with me and Jennifer? We won't tell anybody else. We'll keep it between us. Is there anything we can do to raise our vibration?
I teach a whole course on channeling divine. Let me see what part of it I want to tell you. I mean, of course, you probably know how to do it, but everybody's got their way, right? Some people do all these meditations, do all this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to tell you Tamara's secret. I have a free webinar on my channel. You can take it. It's called
and that's called Seeking Heaven channel.
Seeking Heaven channel, and it's called and it's free. I do a lot of free stuff because I know some people can't afford it. I just do a bunch of free stuff. I'm just a sucker like that. Good. But it's called 5 Secrets to Channeling Divine, and they literally are my secrets, because I've been with other channelers. That's what we call them in the USA, right? They channel directly in these higher levels. And they don't do that. They do all this meditation and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me just tell you, I'm basically impatient. So I like to just kick it straight to the top, because I get bored easy. So what I do is, for me, when I want to get into a divine state, well, okay, I'm cheating a little bit. Let me tell you a little bit. That whole near-death experience 6 times? I actually, when I do things, bring this light to people and shine over them. It's really cool. Everybody gets really high. We don't have to do that today, but I'll tell you how I do it. As I center myself, and I'll walk through it mechanically, is that I take my higher self through consciousness. You don't have to, well, where is your higher self? Just, it's there, okay? There's probably several different planets and different versions of you, but you're going to connect to it. And then you, by intention, you as the soul knows, and then you're going, and then through consciousness, you connect to God, the divine. I be into a state of humility and to a state of love and appreciation. And I'm so grateful to be here. And then I get into do you hear weird feedback?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. That is okay. So you know what it is? It's really high info. Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to tell everybody how to connect directly. So what you do, I'll give you visualizations because it may help. I'm still going. It may help is that you visualize your guardian angel with you, with your holy angels, whatever that looks like for you, right? Non-denominational, that stuff doesn't matter. All your beautiful angels. And then what you do is you visualize. Yeah, it's just got a weird. Turn this down. Hold on.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, we've got it. We've got you.
It's pretty. There's some pretty intense
reverby.
Yeah.
Is it coming from me, guys, or is it?
It's all of us.
Okay.
You sure? It's reverby.
Yeah. See, here comes the conspiracy theorists right now. Oh, Jennifer's just turned her mic off.
This is really weird. This is what happens when you do live. Let me see if I can try something here. Is it everybody?
Okay, I think it's better now. I think we're good. I think we're good now. Okay. Sometimes you just have to fiddle with it a little bit and reset.
So okay. So what you do is that you have your angels. I visualize myself a beautiful clear tube, and sometimes I'll put angels in it. And then I visualize one way I astral travel is I'll have I'll be encased in a Merkabah, and then I'll be inside and I have a tube with my angels all around, and then I'll have Metatron or Michael in it, and I'll say, and then I'll put my attention where I want to go, and then I'll go. But what I do, it's really, 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 really fast. And it's so cool because it's intention by thought. Now, if I want to connect with the divine and I'm not sure who exactly, like I don't have if you say, well, I want to talk to blah, I'll do that and I'll go there. But if I want to just be open to a message, then I go into this beautiful state of love. I raise my energy through love and get into this high euphoric love state to the divine, why I'm here, my higher consciousness. And then, I'll say, what is it that, that you would want me to know or to pass on? And then I ask, because I'm evidential, this is just me. Other people don't do it. It drives me bananas. Because I'm evidential, I was trained this way. This is why I did it in the first place, is because I have to have evidence. It's just me. It's not always perfect. Sometimes the evidence is of the heart. But I say, who is it? A lot of channelers are just talking to, well, who are you talking to? I don't know. Well, I know everybody I'm talking to, and they give me the evidence who it is. Why wouldn't, if our grandmother can do that, why in the world wouldn't Tesla do that? I said, Tesla, I didn't take you in school. I'm sorry, I don't really know you that well. But he tells me the information. I looked it up. I'm like, what do you know? I guess it was him. So you ask, who is it? Like the Ramanaju, I didn't know who that guy was. He was important, but I knew he was important, but I looked him up later. So you can still get evidence as an evidential medium with the channeling. You might have to be a little patient, but I ask who it is. And sometimes they have a hard time describing who they are if they're very higher level. And especially like the example that you gave, Paul, of that the NDM was not an NDM, but actually an ultra-dimensional of some type. Yeah. So, they're working with our limited awarenesses. So, but that's how I do it. And then I just raise it really high. I always start with my crown chakra up. I make sure I'm in good working order with all my chakra centers and that I know my clairs, of course, and all this. But I start up here. I always connect crown chakra up.
Yeah.
And you get high. It's really great. I like it a lot because I still love our talking to family and spirit, but this is a higher level spirit. And not saying you can't learn from spirit people, you can quite a bit, but you can really learn from these masters.
Yeah.
Did that help?
There is a lot of entities at a certain level, and just quickly, because oh my gosh, we've so overrun. But just quickly, I believe it was Eckhart Tolle. He was asked a question, and this guy, he's got millions of people follow him.
Mm.
You know, he does, you know, the famous for the Power of Now books. Okay, being present, being in the moment, and yeah, I believe that to be very important. And he was asked a question. What do you feel about channeling trance work that comes from off planet? And he said, and I love what he said, and you guys, it's out there, check him out, it's on his page. He said that it doesn't matter whether it's coming from the planet Zog or whether it's a mouse in the corner and someone's channeling the mouse. That's a probably bad example. But the point is, can you imagine Tom and Jerry channeling Tom and Jerry? Anyway, that's completely off pace. The point is that it's the information that comes through. Is it of value? Does it enhance your life and your well-being? And I think that's a really important thing for people to remember. And I do love all the stuff you channel and all the connections, and I believe them to be valid. It's just that for some people out there listening, they might start to think, oh, this is too highbrow. But I think everyone can connect to those higher forces. Some people would just, you know, my sister, you know, she used to be a commercial banker. She says to me, sometimes I listen to your show, Paul, and I just can't keep up with it. I can't live with it. So that's why I try to keep my feet on the ground as well, trying to give people that steer where to go. But I think it's really important that what you're doing, the work you're doing, you're sharing it as well.
Yes, it's the point, right?
Absolutely. And I do ask people to come along. I've actually got your, gosh, I'm just trying to find here, your Academy of Divine Wisdom and also your YouTube page. It's Seeking Heaven.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you.
And also, before we go, because we have been going on and on and on, I'm so sorry. What next for you? What's happening next in your life? What's next? What's the next chapter?
Well, what keeps me very busy is my Seeking Heaven channel. I put 2 shows a week. I really need a little time off for the summer. And I do a lot of information on there, and I have people on as well. Y'all are, you know, welcome. We'll figure out something to talk about and come in there, because we've definitely talked about all this stuff and more. So, and I love how we don't just leave mediumship in the box. It is so much more than that. I love the fact that we both are like that very much, very much. So doing a lot of speaking engagements, talking, as well as finishing my book, Love from Heaven, and working in my school, which I'm completing the channeling for divine wisdom. And I'm going through all the teachings. I have all these slides and all this stuff. And then I actually have exercises, and I have the way that I do it. And here's the thing, and to respond to what you're saying, yeah, some people, this is not real, but you got to figure, when you start playing bass guitar, you're not going to start playing like Nile Rodgers of Chic immediately. You're just not going to do it. Okay.
I love that song.
Okay, exactly.
I love that song.
No, it's just not going to happen. So what you do is that, who do you connect to? That's a higher, is it Mother Mary? Cool. Go for it. You know, is it Rumi? Who is it that you connect to that you love? Is it Buddha? Is it Confucius? Is it Jesus? Is it, you start with your person, and you have them assist you, and they arrange a little team, and they help you. And if you always connect and love and unity, the biggest thing that I hear is, what about if there's darker things? They're not interested in this love vibration. If there was anything, just like people that are real negative, they're not interested in high tone people. So you got nothing to worry about. So you just connect to your person, and then let that evolve, and let you evolve. And you're going to go to the level you feel comfortable with. Apparently, I like challenges, and I want to get on a spacecraft. That doesn't mean that's going to happen to other people, because they may not be interested in that. So they're not going to take that route. So I love how Team God, the divine, arranges things exactly to what your heart desires, what your experience in this world. desires, and you can learn as little as much as you want, that you're always behind the steering wheel in control. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I want to, Gwendolyn. That's so sweet. I used to do these big, thank you. I used to do these big stage shows, and I haven't done any since the COVID and so forth. That's sweet. Yes, thank you. I love the rich people. Really incredible. I would get huge crowds there, and spirit worked all through connecting. It was just amazing. It would just be like doing whole groups at once. It was cool. So thank you, Gwendolyn. Thank you for the encouragement. I'll look into that.
I don't know about you, Jennifer, but I get a little feeling. Look, we've only just touched on a little bit. Really, just a little tiny bit of your story. So we do look forward to the book.
Yes, to the book. And then the school, I've been pushed by my spirit guides to get this. They've been asking me, honestly, I'm embarrassed, 18 years to teach. And I'm like, oh. And so finally I did it. And you know what I said? I said, look, people, what if they go off and do crazy stuff? You teach them, they do crazy stuff. Because that is not on you. My guides must be pretty funny and tough. They go, it's not on you. So don't worry about it. Just do what you know and let them trust that they'll do what they need to. They have their own direction. I was like, well, okay. So now I'm doing that. I'm getting other people that are also guest teachers doing that. So I want to build up a beautiful, diverse online school. Yes, it'll be me on there, but I also have guest teachers, because sometimes people really connect to learn from me because I'm very down to earth. But other people, they may like to train with better. They may, so I don't care who they learn from, long as they feel like they're getting what they need. So that's been a big thing that I've been, putting together as the school, and all that back end technology stuff. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's the academy.
We can't thank you enough for being a guest on Spiritual Talk.
Y'all are great. I mean, this is terrific because, I just feel like, you just look, you let all this you were so polite. You just let all this stuff that was very unusual, like it was the most normal conversation. You were so gracious.
My life isn't normal. Wow. That's the illusion. My life isn't normal.
You're both terrific. And the guests, everyone, just really, thank you. I've really been looking forward to this now that I found the StreamYard link. I really, which I like StreamYard. I think you all are terrific. And if you ever want to do a live medium demonstration, I love when we have the American and British, but they're trained the same way, because it's different, but it's still patterned after. You're still looking, you're still trained the same way. So it's interesting to see that.
Yeah. So part of a thank you to our viewers, we offer out a free half-an-hour reading. So guys, if you shared, I've seen some great comments of people sharing tonight. Just let us know you shared. Can you see the comments on the right-hand side? Mm-hmm. Can get yourself, or can you tune into someone? Because I think it's my turn, Jennifer, isn't it, this week?
I think so.
Yeah,
I did last week. Yeah.
So it's my turn this week. I look forward to that. So anybody you're drawn to, and I get in contact with me, guys. You've won a free half hour. Hi, Sean. It's good to see you on. Also, Kelly Marie, Carol Phillips. Hi, guys. Thank you for being so kind, to being here with us tonight and sharing this experience with me and Jennifer. And it's been a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Oh, can you pick a name for us? Sorry, before we go, can you pick a name for us?
I'll do Emma or Carol.
Emma or Carol. You got to do one or the other.
Or you can do one.
No, we just do one.
You know Carol, so I'll do Carol.
You're going to do Carol.
Because you know her. I don't know her. I think she's lovely, what I do know, but I don't know her.
Did you want? Okay, so we normally do it ourselves, but if you want to do,
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to run the program. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Carol will be very happy to have a reading.
I am so embarrassed. I didn't know. I just look. See. Oh my God. No, I'll just enjoy it.
Oh my God, you're so beautiful, Tamara. We love you.
Sorry, Paul.
No, we just usually pick someone, and then they get one after the show later, and so we pick somebody to get a free reading later.
Yeah. So, who are you going with, Emma or Carol? Because I kind of feel like we're going to upset someone now. I'm gonna get death threats if I don't.
Well, I thought I was going to do Carol and Jennifer was going to do Emma.
I tell you what, you do Carol, because Jennifer did one last week, and you do Carol, I'll do Emma.
Oh, okay.
We'll do a compromise. We don't normally give away two.
Good grounding coming here. This is the good formatting. This is good.
Yeah,
Thanks, Paul.
Sorry about that. Guys, it's been so brilliant. We are back next Thursday over on SPTV with the lovely Diana Cooper. Jennifer, you've also got your online Sunday service as well that people should know about.
I do.
Did you want to quickly plug that, please? Just let
people
know.
Our next one's going to be on the 30th. I don't have the listing up yet, but we've got Michael Christopher and Debbie Romero joining us for that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're spreading the love, bringing people together, just like we're doing here. So hopefully you can join us for that. I've got a lovely demonstration this Saturday as well. We're raising money for rescue for our feathered friends. So it's going to be a lot of fun too, helping some gals spread their wings and expressing mediumship in different ways through animal communication. We've got tarot, we've got angel messages, and evidential mediumship as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And how can we join that? How can we get involved in that?
That's just all you have to do is go to my website, mediumjenniferrose.com, and sign up. Super easy.
Brilliant. Okay, guys, if you're going to come in tonight, we're also going over live on Zoom. And if you want, we'll try and connect with your loved ones and bring messages through from Spirit over on there. So it's goodbye from me and Jennifer and Tamara.
Thank you. And I love your glasses. They look like infinity, and I'm just all of it.
By the way, I swear,
I'm charmed. They're so beautiful.
I think I've seen the ghost of Austin Powers keep going past.
Oh
no! Yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh God, I'm so bad. Take me off there. Okay. Thank you, ladies. Take care. Bye everybody. Bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye everyone.